Welcome back to Follow My Beat. I am your host, TR, and Dan will be up shortly. We got a great lineup for you guys today. We have special guest hosts. We have my brother, Andre Greene, with his lovely wife, Rhonda Anthony Greene. So, like I said, we got a lot going on. We're going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about the latest things with Donald Trump. You're going to end up hearing the latest music that Dan always plays. So, we're going to keep it real with you. So, we'll be right back with Follow My Beat. Stay tuned. Well. Welcome back to Follow My Beat. I am your host, TR. This show and portion has been sponsored by SoundGuard Events, Sound Systems, and AV Rentals. We have gear for all occasions. Contact Mr. Henry Gibson at 201-982-4957 or email him at dj00007@aol.com. Okay, guys, again, this is TR, and welcome back. We have Dan. He's in Atlantic City, and he's going to be hosting right from the Atlantic City. So he's here with us. Hey, Dan.
Hey, how's everybody?
We're definitely doing.
Okay.
We're doing.
Well,
so.
Listen, I got to tell you something. I'm very, very excited. Even though I'm in Atlantic City, now I got to tell you something. I'm in Atlantic City at the real estate convention. And, you know, part of what I have to do is I have to take courses for credits and things of that nature. I had a lot of things going through my mind as I've taken this trip down here, and I've done this many, many, many times over the years. But I was hoping to meet Andre and Rhonda in person, but we're going to do it like this. This is going to be our best show ever. By the way, Andre, I know you're into doo-wop, and we got some doo-wop lined up for you. So I'm hoping we're going to get you this thing. Can you do that today or what?
I don't know about that, but I'll try.
Okay. Well, you know, Kiara, why don't we do this? I know last week we had Hunter Hayes on, and we had Randy Biorio, and I know we had a couple callers. But you know, some of the topics that you talked about were very, very good. Well, I should say all of them were good. And could you just do like a brief recap? And then I want to get into some of the things that are going on this week's news. So would you take like maybe 2 minutes and do that?
Sure. We talked about Donald Trump. We also talked about, you know, he's in all the media, regardless if it's at your kitchen table and drinking coffee at the job. You know, he's the number one topic on everybody's tongue. We also talked about the pastors who went to his event on Monday and how people thought about it. We talked a little bit, just briefly, because it had just happened, the catastrophe that happened in California, Bernardo, California. Was it Bernardino?
San Bernardino.
Oh, San Bernardino. Thank you.
San Bernardino.
Right. We talked that briefly. We couldn't go into it too much because it had just happened. All we knew was that it was 14 dead. That's all that we knew. We did a little segment of Dear Abby, which was good. And I thought that was funny. The whole place during break, everybody got a chance to listen to Hunter Hayes music. So that's what we used as our break. And we just kicked it. That's about it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I got to tell you, one of the things that I thought, by the way, one of the things I thought was pretty interesting was the whole idea when you talked about the ministers meeting with Donald Trump. But I'm going to put that aside for a minute, and let's get the conversation started here. Now, I know that there's some political how can I say this? I know that I know Andre and I'm guessing if Andre and Rhonda together that I know that you have political points of view. So with that being said, let's start off with San Bernardino. Okay. A couple things came out of that. Okay, number one, first of all, there was a massacre. Now you have people on both sides, and I'll be very interested to hear what you and Rhonda have to say because you're from Texas, which is, from my perspective, a gun-carrying state. Okay, now, there's people on both sides of this thing, the issue of this thing. Some people say, oh, absolutely. See, that proves right there that we should have more gun control. We got the gun control thing under control. Then you have the people who say, see, right there, that shows you we need to have more guns. If people would have been armed there, that wouldn't have gone down like it went down. I want to hear what you guys are thinking.
Okay, well, I'll go first.
Okay.
Well, as far as with gun control, I look at it this way. I'm pretty sure that the gun shops are really making money right now because people will be acting out of fear. So everybody's buying guns and everybody's buying ammunition. But when you do that, also, it's a catch-22. People are going to start having more access to it. And because of it, there's a chance of them starting up their own little thing going on, and they end up doing what happened in California. However, the thing is that people saw something and they didn't say anything. And I think that if you see something, say something, and let the police handle it discreetly just in case it's wrong. So
all right.
That's just my opinion on that.
Okay. All right. And I want you to hold on to that see something, say something thought. Okay. In the meantime, Andre and Rhonda, Texas people, gun-carrying state, what's your assessment in terms of the guns and the gun control, or people should be armed, not armed? Where do you stand on this?
Well, hi, this is Rhonda, and yeah, I'm from
Okay.
Texas, and I'm proud to be a Texan. But
Okay.
what happens is that you have a lot of people that are not voting, and the people that are in office is because of that reason. Unfortunately, they end up getting more media, the nuts. They get the media, and then our state ends up being stereotyped because there's a lot of people who are not voting, thinking that everyone supports that kind of politics. And I'm a Texan, and I vote, and I did not vote for those people who are in office. I don't support that as far as people toting around guns. Especially in public places like restaurants and grocery stores and where I have to shop, where my family is. But the thing is, back in the day when people had guns, they were discreet. The old school, they were discreet, and they were very responsible, and they were proud, and they didn't expose it. Now we are in a different era, where people are very outgoing, they're loud, they don't care about what they're saying, and it's a political agenda behind it. And a lot of it has to do with race, and it has to do with them targeting people of color, basically, with their language. So, yeah, they're exposing their weapons, and they're showing it because they're trying to prove something, because they feel that they're trying to take their country back. That's something I don't support. I don't support carrying guns in that way.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
I'm a new Texan now, coming straight out of Jersey.
Uh-huh.
I don't come from a gun culture. I mean, look, people here have guns here in Jersey, and we know it's very hard to get guns here. Now, in Texas, you can walk up to a gun show, purchase a gun. That's it. I don't understand that. I really don't. And I see that we have open carry Texans here walking around displaying these AR-15s, these pistols, concealed weapons, and they take pride in that. And they will walk into you're sitting down having dinner with your family in a restaurant, and guys come in with guns. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look what's going on in the news every day. You see people getting shot every day. Since this year alone, there's been over 350 mass shootings, and the year's not even over yet. And I didn't even know that till a few days ago. I never
Wow.
counted
Right,
it.
right.
But just imagine 250 mass shootings. And just imagine this. There has been more people killed this year in guns than all the wars that we fought so far, that I noticed. That I know. I should, or maybe I could be wrong, but let's just take, for example, the war in Iraq and Iran. There have been more people killed here in the States this year than has been in 10 years of war between the two countries. I'm talking about Americans who fought. Probably, they might even beat out the total of the casualties, period, the people killed in this war. But to me personally, I haven't ran into any open carry Texans since I've been to Texas, thank God. I haven't experienced nobody, like I said, walking around into a restaurant. I walk in the store. I have seen gentlemen coming with guns, but they were officers. Plain clothes
and we've
officers.
also seen them protest,
Right.
On the side of the streets.
Right, yeah.
We show them we don't support that.
Yeah, but my thing is that when you're
Okay.
sitting at a restaurant eating and somebody comes in and they're loaded with guns, how you know that they're not one of the ones that are getting ready to blow up the place?
You don't know.
Okay.
That's the problem. You don't know.
Okay.
Let me jump in 1 minute. I want to go back to see something, say something. Okay, now, here's what we suspect. We suspect that they bought the guns somewhere. So therefore, it wasn't a situation where they created the guns in the house. So someone saw them purchasing guns. Now, if they had a large cache of guns, it seems to me, assuming they purchased them from the same place, somebody would have said, TR, you got 56 guns you just bought. What did you have in mind? It seemed like, now watch this. Now here's again, there's always like, if there's a left, there's a right. If there's an up, there's a down. If there's a forward, there's a backward. Okay, now watch this. Okay. We were talking about this, I don't know, on several shows back, maybe a year. It seemed like when we were coming up, if people were bugging, it's like you could tell. But now people can be bugging, and they look and they sound normal. And it's like at what point, like just because when one person gets upset, say back in the day, maybe you had a fist fight. But now, when people get upset, you never know. They may come back and shoot up the place. Now,
It's not made. This is what actually happens. And as far as what you're talking about and seeing something, saying something, Dan, that they saw a lot of packages. They didn't know what the packages were. They saw a lot of packages come in. And everything looked suspicious. Wherever they were buying their guns from, getting semi-automatic rifles and stuff like that, and the quantity that they were getting, they should have known that something was going up. Because I don't think you're allowed to have automatic rifles shooting up like it is when you're in war. So that let anyone who was selling it to them or whatever it was in the mail, that was some kind of undercover thing. But when you saw packages coming in all times of the night and it was frequent, you saw something and you didn't say anything. And I really feel that if you say something, then the authorities will check it out. They do it discreetly just in case you're wrong. But how about if that person reported it like they were supposed to? They would have caught them with all that ammunition and all that other stuff, and those lives would have never been taken.
But you also got to understand.
Okay.
Different states has different gun laws. Texas is a more open carry state than California.
But are you able to have an automatic, like a machine gun?
Yes, you can. In Texas, you can have an AR-15.
But in California, could you?
I don't know about California, but I think California is a little bit more stricter than Texas. But they walk around in Texas with AR-15 strapped to their backs and pistols.
And what is the purpose of having that? To shoot a deer?
Well, they claim it's for hunting.
You need an automatic like that for hunting?
Well, I never
A
seen.
lot of them too are gun collectors, you know. And right now, since President Obama has been in office, it is their way to display or protest in their way to speak out and display their anger about their country being taken away. So it's politics behind it.
Yeah, it's politics.
It's 100% politics. And it's really strange because you would see, like, remember in the 60s, you know, us, you know, black Americans were fighting for our rights and these things now. Now you have a black president who is black and is America. This is how, who is an American, who has switched what their identification of what America is. So everything has been rewritten.
All right, but you know what, Rhonda? How about just putting it out there? Most of the ones that are carrying are Caucasian out like that. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. If a black man came up or a Latino man was strictly strapped like that, they either would be shot on the spot
Right.
or their nose will be
Right.
implanted into the cement.
Right.
Well, it has happened in Texas. This black guy did an experiment. He carried a legal gun. He had an AR-15 strapped to his back.
Oh my God.
He got surrounded. Somebody called up. They surrounded him, and they didn't shoot him, but they surrounded him, pointing guns at him. And he laid on the ground, did everything as ordered. He was legal. They found out he was legal, and they let him go. But when
He was profiled.
He was
then.
profiled.
no, he wasn't.
Racially
He did it-
profiled.
He was racially profiled, but he did it just to see what will happen.
But it could have
he
cost
was-
him his
But
life.
he was being filmed by some people just to see if he can walk. He was carrying everything legally that you do in Texas. He had everything, papers, everything the way he's supposed to have it, just in case. He did an experiment just to see. When the non-African American did it, they walk around the street with no problem. Now they'll get confronted if somebody calls, somebody asks, and they'll ask a bunch of questions. They'll throw a bunch of legal terms at them. Okay, we can't touch you, we can't do nothing, but they'll stop them just to give them a little pep talk. And let
But if
them
it
go.
was a minority,
Right, if you're a minority, it's different.
Because you're going to be profiled.
Now, understand what's happening in the St. Louis area. Now, we all know about Michael Brown that got shot. Now, it wasn't Tamar Rice. In Cleveland, they have this non-minority walking around the black neighborhood strapped to the T. And they've been getting complaints by blacks in the neighborhood saying there's a guy walking around here strapped to the T. They walk up, and the cops look at him, and they drive away because he's legally able to walk around there like that. And they can't do it. They said, well, change the laws. In order for us to do something, you got to change the law. The law's protecting this man.
but the laws are protecting Caucasians. They're not protecting anyone else.
If you look at these laws in this country, the laws were made to protect the Caucasians. It's not made to really protect them. Now, we are part of America.
But what we have to do is that, Andre and I voted in November. A lot of people are not aware about these local elections.
Right.
You have to vote in these local elections. And what they will do is that they will try to pass these laws quickly because they know that, unfortunately, we do not keep ourselves informed. We have to be informed. We have to, be a part of our local commissioner meetings, see what's going on, print out these petitions, see what people are voting for, because they are able to sneak this through and pass it in Congress. Before you know it, these laws are building and creeping up that have been voted not for us, because we're not voting,
Right.
but they're voting it. Congress is passing it, and they didn't sneak something through. And this is how it's done.
Right. They sneak an amendment along with the bill. It's not for us.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in for a minute. Okay, which kind of a way to segue into Donald Trump's statement or that we should block all Muslims from coming into the country. I thought that was a bit much, to say the least.
Yeah, but we got let Andre and Rhonda speak on that because we got like 2 minutes before break.
Okay.
All right, so we're speaking about Trump and what he said about
The Muslims,
You know, every-
Hitler's cousin.
You know what's amazing is how far this guy is up in the polls. How did he get those numbers? You know, that's the thing. But we know he's a radical. He's in your face. You know, I don't support it. But it seems like we have a society and a culture today who likes this type of attitude and personality and outgoing and disrespectful, and he's a loudmouth. You know, it's just something we do have to take serious and register to vote.
And vote when you register. Not just register to vote, you got to vote. And that's one of the problems. They will vote for president and then stop.
So, what I want to know in a word or less, one word or less, is Donald Trump right or wrong? TR, Rhonda, and Andre, right or wrong?
Wrong.
On this blocking all Muslims coming to the United States.
Wrong. I vote no.
I didn't have to even think about that.
I didn't have to think about it either. Donald Trump
I don't
is
listen
dead
to what
wrong.
he says, actually.
You know, I want to know what he's thinking. I do want to know what he's saying, but I don't support anything he's saying. No.
But
You say no.
he is a voice that people are listening to.
Right.
That's something we must be aware of, you know, and fight against that.
Right. Well,
Not
Dan,
anymore.
take us out.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, I'll tell you, you know, the thing about when you get these conversations going, it's you can only take them so far, and you got to go to a break. But it's a good break. We have some oldies coming up here, and I know you're a big doo-wop man, Andre. So therefore, we've got some doo-wop lined up for you. So hopefully you're going to like these. I know you'll remember them, and then we can get into a little doo-wop. And I know, TR, you like a lot of oldies too, so let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is DJ Dan double diddly diddly D. And Chuck, are you ready to go?
All right, we got Chuck on the screen now. Should people see? Check him
Okay, I
out.
see him.
There's
I see
Chuck,
him. I
right?
see him.
There's Chuck.
I see him.
Okay, and I'm
All right,
TR. You're listening to Follow My Beat with GS Radio. We'll be right back. Well. Welcome back. You're listening to Follow My Beat. And this portion has been sponsored by MK Images. Capture your expressions for life. Located at 70 Spruce Street, 3rd floor, Paterson, New Jersey. For services, call 862-239-9875 or send an email at gs.wkdr@gmail.com. Also, neat and clean cleaning services. We will make gray clouds turn to sunshine. For their services, call 551-404-4549 and tell them you heard it first here on Follow My Beat with GS Radio. Hey, Dan.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Well. I guess it's that time again. You know, I was trying to decide, TR, whether or not I should sing when we were doing the doo-wop and stuff.
No. We thank you. If you were going to do it, it was good for you to do it while it was going on because the mics were turned off over here for you. So we wouldn't have been tortured. We wouldn't have been tortured for that. But my sister-in-law Rhonda kind of serenaded, and it was a blessing because she had a voice. So we were willing to listen to her. So if you were singing, thank God Chuck turned down. We didn't get the chance to hear you.
Oh, goodness gracious.
You know I will throw you underneath the bus when it comes to singing. You know I'll throw you. I have no qualms in throwing you under the bus.
I see that. I was thinking that, you were going to encourage me to go on America's Got Talent or The Voice or, I don't know, or what's the other one? American Idol or something like that. I thought that's where I was going with this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll hold
Dan,
off.
Dan, we hear a feedback in the background.
Really?
Yes, loudly.
Okay. How about now?
All right,
Okay.
that's good.
Okay, it will. Okay.
That's
See, that I guess that was computer acting up because when you were trying to say for me not to sing, I think that's what that was.
oh, okay.
Well, anyway, but we're coming to the informational part of the show. Tia always has some tips and stuff. And she always comes up with these things that I say to myself, what in the world is she thinking? And then it's always good stuff. So anyway, with that being said, TR has some tips, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to TR. TR, do your thing.
Okay,
But the next time I'm going to sing, I'm telling you.
okay. Hey guys, it's that time where there's a lot of holiday cooking, etc. is going on, and you really need to have the safety. You really need to have the safety, and when you start cooking in the kitchen. So kitchens are a favorite gathering place for many families, especially during the holidays, and we know that. Cooking fires are the most common type fires in the U.S. households. So this is something that I'm going to give you some tips on how you can prevent the kitchen and the kitchen fires. Okay, tip number one.
Number one.
If you are frying, grilling, or boiling food, stay in the kitchen. Turn off the stove if you have to leave the kitchen, even only for a short time. And that's something a lot of us don't do. We put something on the stove, especially when it comes to boiling water. We put something on the stove, and then what happens is we walk away and we start looking at TV, and we get so caught up into the television, we kind of lose focus on what's going on in the kitchen. And that's really easy to do now, because a lot of times that what we listen to doesn't have commercials. See, when we were coming up, Dan and I, and don't let him fool you, okay? Dan and I, when we were coming up, and even my brother Andre, and I'm pretty sure my sister Rhonda here, that we had commercials. So we would get up in between commercials, wash the dishes, check the food, do little things while the commercials, and you know that the food won't be cooking too long without you watching it. Well, today, what you look at doesn't have commercials. You get so caught up into what's on the television, guys, that you kind of lose focus on what's going on the stove. So that's something that you do not do. Do not leave the stove unattended, which is really hard to do, but try not to. Tip number two.
Tip number two.
If you are simmering, baking, roasting, or boiling food, you don't have to stay in the kitchen, but you do need to stay in the home. Check the food regularly and use a timer to remind you that there's something on the stove cooking. Now, putting food on the stove, it is not the time to decide to go check something out in the backyard. Because then when you go in the backyard, you're going to do this and do that, and it's like, oh, I forgot, I got food on the stove. Or let me run to the corner store. Why this? I'll put it on low. Let me run to the corner store to get some milk to make this cornbread, and then you end up being on the line that's real long and you have food on the stove. Or even worse yet, you're in church and you started cooking food and you left your oven on or your stove on, and thinking that you would be back at a decent time, and then you got the preacher that went over the hours, and now you're trying to rush home to make sure that you didn't burn the food down or the stove. So tip number 3. Keep flammable objects, pot holders, oven mitts, wooden utensils, and paper or plastic bags away from the stove. Now, this is common sense, but not everybody uses that. You have a pot and you think you have a pot going. The flame doesn't even have to be up high, but you had your mittens on, your pot holder mittens, and instead of laying them on a different side of the counter, you end up laying it close to the stove, and you end up having it too close to the stove, and it could catch on fire. My sister actually had put, when she was young, she had a paper towel, And she laid it up on top of the stove, very young, very young. She might have been about 5 or 6 years old. And she took that paper towel and laid it up on top of the stove while my father was boiling water for coffee. That caught on fire. She grabbed it, and it burned her, and it ended up going into the garbage can, right, Andre? It went into the garbage can, and it set the curtain and the whole wall on fire. And then she came out with this look on her face, and they just knew that something had scared her. And my father jumped up, because I don't know if he smelt the flames or whatever, and he ran in the kitchen, and the whole wall was on fire. So you have to be real careful regarding paper, plastic, leaving your spoon utensils in the pot while it's cooking, because it could cause a fire. Tip number, that was tip number 4 I'm coming up with. Wear close fitting clothing that won't drape over or touch burners while you cook. When you're cooking, it's really best to wear an apron, because the apron kind of flattens the clothing out so that when you lean over, certain things won't catch on fire. Most of the time when you see women in the kitchen, when I was growing up, they had what they call house dresses on, and they weren't long sleeves. So it was never something where they had to reach over to the stove and their sleeves will catch into the food. The same clothing that they used to cook the food with wasn't the same clothing that they wore. When they got finished cooking, they took off those clothes and they changed into something else. But when you're cooking, do not have long sleeves. If you have long sleeves, make sure they're not hanging, because once that sleeve or something catches on fire, it's hard to get that off of you, which means you can get burned pretty bad. Tip number 5, know how to put out a grease fire. Water will not put out a grease fire. Water will only make it spread. It'll spread like oil. It'll just spread. And the fire is like gasoline. Wherever the oil is, it'll flame right in there. And the only way to put that out is with salt, baking soda, or smother it with a fire extinguisher. And that's something that everyone should have in their kitchen, is baking soda. Baking soda is something quick. It's not just for the refrigerators. You should have it up by the corner of the stove somewhere. So if there's a grease fire in the frying pan, you don't grab it and throw it in the sink and put water on it. If you're going to grab it and put it in the sink, immediately take the baking soda and sprinkle it on there. Or while it's on the stove, take the baking soda and sprinkle it on it right away. My bonus tip is keep small all-purpose fire extinguishers in a reachable place in the kitchen. Every kitchen should have a small fire extinguisher. I know I do. And it was a good thing. My daughter recently, during the summertime, turned on the stove, and she had a cast iron frying pan with grease in it, and put it in the bottom broiler part of the stove, way at the bottom, turned the oven on to heat up something she had to heat up, and the broiler caught the pan on fire that had the grease. She had to get the fire extinguisher, because the fire actually came up from behind the stove of the vents, and she had to put out the fire with the fire extinguisher. Believe me, if we didn't have that in there, that whole kitchen would have went up, because by the time we would have called the fire department and they would have got there, that whole kitchen would have been destroyed. So on that note, that's my tips on cooking, safety tips. Going back to you, Dan.
Hey, TR, just a point I would like to make. Every year you hear about some people or someone who gets a fire, and unfortunately sometimes they're killed, maimed, or definitely get smoke inhalation. they're trying to run stoves and things like that for heat, because maybe the electricity's been cut off or whatever's going on. The second thing that happens too, that's not the same thing but it's kind of related, is the whole carbon monoxide thing going on. So many times we hear about that. At least once a year we hear about that.
Yeah, I spoke about that, the week before last? I spoke about that.
Yes. And it seems like, those are some things, like, for example, like when people turn their stoves on because, like, it's cold, they want to heat the house up, and, that's the kind of thing, it could set the house on fire, especially as you talk about if they walk away from it, or if something grease or whatever. And I just think, like I say, you always come up with these things. When I first hear them, I go, what is that about? And then they're always good points. So once again, good stuff there.
Okay, sir, Dan. So what we got coming up next is some music time, right?
Yes. Okay. My song pick of the week is Powerful by Alicia Keys and Jussie Smollett. That's the song they were singing when Jamal
on Empire?
on Empire. And Alicia Keys kissed. They were singing this song. They were feeling each other, and they both got caught up in the moment or whatever happened.
What do you mean they were feeling each other? You mean physically feeling, like their hands feeling each other?
No.
Oh, okay. Explain yourself, Dan.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's young cats. You understand. Anyway, now in other words, they were. Let's see. They were in the moment, and they were feeling a lot of love for each other. They were feeling a lot of emotion for each other, and they were singing this song, and the emotions ran high, and they ended up doing that kiss. And this is the song that they did it to, which is called Powerful, which really had nothing to do with the song, because the song really is about people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and that we all are important, we all matter, and and all that. But anyway, that being said, how about we just play it? It's Jussie Smollett, Alicia Keys, and it's called Powerful.
Okay.
Right.
You're listening to...
Are you ready? Give me your head now. I can
yes, he is ready. He's ready.
I can see your blue...
you can see him in the background, right? Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely see. Yeah.
All right, there's Chalk right there. Okay.
Okay.
You'll follow my beat with GS Radio. And, hey, Dan, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Hanging in there.
Okay, this has been sponsored by Infinite Sounds DJs for all occasions. Located at 70 Spruce Street, Paterson, New Jersey, 3rd floor. For bookings, call 201-362-7611 or send an email to gs.wkdr@gmail.com. Also sponsored by TR Broadcast Media, located at 70 Spruce Street, Building 8, Suite E18, Paterson, New Jersey. For services, call 862-217-4443 or contact them via email at trbroadcastmedia@gmail.com. Hey, Dan. All right.
Hey, well. Welcome back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the evening where we have a nice little conversation with our special guest, that's Rhonda Greene. But now, what I'd like to do, because in this situation, TR, you have intimate knowledge with our guests, and I'd like you to introduce them, and then I got a ton of questions, and I know you will have a ton of questions, and we're just going to have some fun here. We have a nice conversation. So with that being said, why don't you introduce them again, because you have a...
Okay. I got it. Well, my right, which is probably you guys left, I have my brother who is underneath me. He's second in command, which still makes me first in command. We have Andre Eugene Greene. On my right. Yeah, there he is giving smiles and wondering what it is. But he could tell you I'm still top dog in the house. But my brother is something. He is a vivid blogger. You'll always find him on Facebook. When he was coming up, he had a love for art and drawing. His big thing first was what? Dinosaurs, wasn't it?
Yes, it was dinosaurs.
It was the T-Rex, was it?
That's right, T-Rex.
Yeah, and then he always drew that. And then what else? You got into your favorite back then was Speed Racer, right?
Speed Racer.
Yeah, the cartoon Speed Racer. And he used to have those Matchbox.
Hot Wheels and Matchbox.
Yes, and be racing them downstairs in the basement.
Yeah.
And he had a love for animals.
Right.
So his animals did whatever that he did, If he ate ice cream, they ate ice cream. Whatever it was, he shared. And his dogs were never on leashes. He would just talk to them in command, especially Sooner, right?
That's right,
Talk
Sooner.
to him, yep. Talk to him on command. But other than that, Andre, with me not letting everything out, tell them about yourself.
Well, went to Eastside High School. I grew up in Paterson. Went to Eastside High School. Go Eastside. Go
Yes.
Ghosts.
Yeah, that's right.
I hung out like everybody else. I hang out in the neighborhoods with my buddies from the neighborhood.
You can give them a shout out who they are.
Okay, well, like Sydney, Eddie, Alan, God rest in peace. Tony, Russo, just so many of them, and so many no longer here. And I had a good time. I can't complain. Had a very good childhood. A fairly good life, and a beautiful wife now.
Yeah.
Who's sitting in front of me right now.
Oh, okay. So what we gonna do before he started to get all Google eye looking at her
Yeah,
and
I'm
saying
looking
that, they're newlyweds. However, okay, and here's my new sister-in-law. We have Rhonda Anthony Greene here. And these guys came all the way up from Texas to visit my mom, me, and to come on to this radio station. So tell us a little bit about you, Rhonda.
Oh, there's so much about me.
Yeah, well, that's why we're asking. Go ahead.
Well, I'm born in Kansas City, Missouri, and a little girl, we moved down to Louisiana because that's where my father's roots are for a couple of years. But most of my life, I'm a Texas resident. And that's where I grew up. Grew up in the country. I'm a country girl. I'm proud.
You're a farm girl,
I'm
right?
a farm girl. And I love the country. And, that just pretty sums up how I got into Texas and then just gained a passion for life and a passion for helping people as I grew up and saw my mother and the women in my family care for others. So, if you want me to go a little further, I can.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I can say for years, I grew up around an older generation of people. I love being around older people, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, grandparents. And so as growing up, today, I have a passion for doing senior caregiving. So I have 2 full-time jobs, which I enjoy both. I went to East Texas Baptist University and I learned business administration. And then from there, I learned how to got my certification in senior caregiving. So I have a little bit of both going on in my life. That's my passion also. And then also singing. I've done some of that. And since I've been caregiving for seniors, I took that from being on stage to, singing to seniors who, and obviously my voice would calm them down. Mm-hmm. I work with a lot of people with Alzheimer's, so I'm known as the lovely whisperer in that part of my world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's pretty much that. I love poetry, and, I'm back with my... I met this wonderful man that I'm married to.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead, Dan.
I have a question. Okay. before we get to the business, and I need everybody to speak up a little bit, before we get to the business, let's go to the business. Now, I understand that you guys are newlyweds.
We are.
And, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, as I remember in the conversation that you're from Paterson, Sweet Pea, Silk City, okay, and your lovely wife is from Texas.
Correct.
Now, were you living in Texas when you met, or did you make the move, or how did first of all, how did you guys meet, and was it love at first sight, and who knew first?
Tell the
And
truth.
stop me when I'm being nosy.
Okay, now, dude, I'll let her. She's good at.
Oh,
I'll
come
let her-
on.
No, Andre, you need to tell
Okay,
tell
all
the
right,
truth.
What I'm gonna.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
I want to hear Andre's side of the
Right.
story,
Yeah.
and I
Well, my
want to hear
side's
Rhonda's side.
it's
of
going
the
to differ from hers. I'm quite sure. This is my side of the story.
story. Okay. All right.
We met on Facebook. Let me put that out there. We met on Facebook,
Okay.
and I used to go to the library because when I first moved to Texas, I was staying with my sister, and I didn't have my computer and everything set up. Mine was still in storage, so I used to go to the library to check my emails, look for work, get on Facebook, the whole 9 yards. And every now and then I used to get on Facebook, and to be honest with you, I can't remember exactly how this young lady came, how we met on there. It had to be through a friend, mutual friends. I just don't remember who. But we just started conversating online. I left comments. She would say something back, and I would say something back, and we just kept going back and forth at it, and then eventually we just hit the friend request and branched off from there. But it was fun, don't get me wrong, and I still had everything under me being in New Jersey. Even though I was in Texas, I still had everything under me being in New Jersey. And she didn't know I was in Texas. Until one day, something came up where she said something, maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on that, Rhonda?
What I said to you?
Yeah, something about me being one to meet, and boom, here I am in Texas.
It was a surprise because I think on your profile it said New Jersey.
Yes, it did.
And I would talk a lot of smack to him.
Yes, you
because
did.
I'm a very independent woman. And what attracted me to him was that he had a very strong voice. He was a good listener and very supportive in my views because I have very strong political views. But basically, it was just something where I ended up adding you because I saw that you had a strong love for family. That attracted me first. And I just saw how you was very consistent and involved in the things I was writing about and when I was expressing in my mind. But yeah, I thought you was still in New Jersey. And then when I was talking trash, I found out he was just right around the corner, as they say there in Texas. And he said, yeah, I can come see you, I'm just not far away. I'm like an hour or so. And I'm like, what? And that's what happened. We went on our first date. He met me and we went on first date.
So how was that first date when you got to meet? What was it? Dinner?
You getting nosy? Okay, now.
No, come on, because they met through online, and a lot of people want to know that those who meet online. How do you set up that first date? So it's not really being nosy, Dan. It's putting that stuff out there because that's something that people say, oh, I met them online when we want to meet. What do we do should it be a common area for safety? Because this really is a stranger, because when people are meet online, regardless if it's Facebook or a dating site, your profile could be spruced up. It doesn't mean that it's actually that person.
Right.
So when you go to meet or agree to meet, it's like, okay, what type of common area am I going to be open to? We don't want to be, a victim like the Craigslist guy,
Right.
where you end up getting hurt, killed, or anything like that. And you don't know if that person's for real until you meet with them.
Right.
So, what was the first date for you that you felt comfortable in meeting Andre?
Well, what I did, we spoke on the phone for a lot before we met. So that was an opportunity for both of us to be able to screen one another and get to know one another. Then the next step was the first date. I was doing in-home, on the weekend, in-home living, home health care. And so he came by, he knew where that was, and I gave him the address. And really, to be honest with you, I didn't have that in my mind because I'm older now, and you become smarter in how to screen people. And I felt that I already had the information I needed. And so when we went on our first date, picked me up, and we went out to eat, and then we went to South Lake.
What is South Lake?
South Lake is a city, a really beautiful city, and we had our first date.
And doing what? Eating,
Let me
walking
tell
out,
you what.
looking at the water. What?
It was the most beautiful experience I've ever had in my entire life. I've never been romanced the way I've wanted to be romanced. And for me, that date was like holding hands. And we were on the square. It's a beautiful scenery, and we held hands and we talked. And it was like the date that you would have when your grandparents would talk about, just that sincere romance. And that's what it was about, is just spending quality time with one another.
Right.
And being able to pick up on that energy. And we just knew it, on that first date. We just knew it.
Well, so where you learned that from, Andre? Daddy? Did Daddy sit down and give you that birds and the bees talk that you were able to do that?
No, that just
Or you
came
took out the
natural.
book? Or you took out the book and had to read up on it a little bit?
No, it came natural. Yeah, I drove when we finally decided to meet. I drove 2.5 hours to her to
Wow.
meet her,
And he was on time.
and I was on time.
And it was amazing.
Oh, well, Andre's a stickler for
Yeah.
being on
That's
time.
me. I like being on time. I don't play that late. If I said I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock, I'm there 1:45. So I drove. I got in my little 4x4, and I drove 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, right to the house, right to where I met her at. Yes.
And it was so funny because I was so nervous. I was excited. And then my client told me what to wear.
Oh, so she
Yeah,
played
she
a
was
part of
involved.
it. She played a
Yeah,
part.
and I had a couple of goof ups where I was so nervous. It was a couple of times where I kind of tripped and slipped.
Oh, yeah, I know you told my sister and I about that,
Yeah.
right? You fell?
I did.
You fell. And
Yeah.
how was his response?
He was looking at me like he was mad that not that because I fell, he just didn't want me hurt. So it upset him that I fell, and he wanted to make sure I was okay.
Oh, okay.
It was the most embarrassing moment.
I know when you told my sister and I that, we were in the living room grabbing our stomach, rolling like, what did he do?
It was
What did
terrible.
he do? What did he do? Because we were getting ready to get on him. What? What?
I was shocked. I mean, I come out this my truck. I come around to walk around towards the back of the truck to come around to meet her. And all of a sudden, she's coming out there. Next thing, boom, on the ground. And I go, and my face going like, what? I had people fall over me, but not actually fall over.
Oh, whatever. No.
She fell for me. Yes, she did.
It was muddy,
Yes, she did.
and I slipped.
And okay, she slip slide and she fell for me.
Okay. Well, folks, let me jump in for a minute. Now, I know that, Rhonda, you do a lot of different things here with the art. And I noticed you do stuff with spoken word. You also do audio samples and things of that nature. Now, I know what that means as a DJ and as a guy who's into music. So you sample beats with software and speak to it, or can you just explain what you got going on, and maybe you could even spit a few for us?
Well, I didn't really practice anything, but
That's all right.
I can say that I had some producers that work with my music, and they taught me how to do it. And that came out in an era where women weren't doing it themselves. They were always having men to write their things or write their own music, and I learned how to do it myself because I wanted to own my own work. I didn't want a producer owning my voice with the music. So I learned how to get samples, and there were websites and stuff because you could do it online. And I would just, spit into my recording. I had a little recording studio at home, and apply the music and just learn how to do the left, right, speakers, and just learn how to blend that music and double my voice and record it and things like that. So I had people who taught me how to do it, and I wanted to learn how to own my own music. And then, it was, very easy because it gave me a form to, or a space to learn how to express myself to another level without being controlled by people. And so that's how it started.
What are some of the topics? And I need to speak a little bit louder because I can barely hear you, or bubble whisper. What are some of the topics that you would include in your spoken word?
Right, yeah. My topics, I want it to be, I'm very diverse. And I didn't want to be, just because I had that voice, I didn't want people to judge me, to associate me with something, with being erotic or seductive. So, because I have many facets in the form of expression, and that extra expression, I was able to do. I want to speak on politics. I want to speak on women's rights. I want to speak on equality and fairness and protection of children and just humanity, basically. And so I just had a variety of topics that was just social views, and then about my life. Was when you start, working with music, it opens up a whole nother avenue of expression to be able to share it. And then people wanted to hear it. They wanted to listen to it. And then that just inspired me to monopolize and build on how I express. So it was a variety of things. Some people would listen to my voice and thought it was just, associated to one type of music, when the lyrics and the music was about Katrina, and it was about someone dying, or it was about my hardships in life. It wasn't about anything sexual. And but that's why they would call me the seductress of rhetoric frenzy, because when they read what it was about, it was something of substance.
Who are some of your influences that you say either influenced you, or who are some of the people that you're saying, right now I'm really feeling these people. I really like these people, or some of the maybe influences from the past.
I have so many, but Billie Holiday, I always said that I was, born before my time. Nancy Wilson, I love the, the black and white classics, Ella Fitzgerald. And then Doris Day, and there were a lot of white artists that I gravitated to with that crisp voice, because I never wanted to be associated to a certain culture. I just expressed myself, and that's how I wanted to be identified. Not just to be a black artist, but a woman artist that was able to tap into different diverse topics to get the attention of people's ears, where I could express, my point of view, and hopefully I could use that point of view to change people's minds and being more optimistic about life.
So who are some of the people that you like that are out now?
That I've written music with?
Or is it written music, or in your opinion, they're making a good sound, they're making a good, the topics are good, or you say, I like this stuff here? Who are some people now?
I've never listened to a whole lot because it would interfere with how I wrote. But I can say that there's J. Cole. I like his music. He's a rapper. And he really taps into, like I said, substance. Everything is just not about, eroticism. He has a very good message. Just really not, I don't know, it's just not really a whole lot out there that's consistent with giving a quality message out there. What is my girl that I love so much? Fantasia. I love her. She has a very strong voice, and a lot of my people that I really like, passed away. But I love Diana Ross and Whitney Houston and those kind of people. And then the older hip hop, generation. But, I'm not really that impressed with a lot of the things that I hear today on the radio.
Hey, Andre.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, and then TR, I want you to kind of jump in after this question here. I saw that you're a blogger, but I think what really caught my attention, a World War historian.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you speak to that a little bit? I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well,
What about it? Or
well, when I grew up, my father, he controlled the TV in the house, just plain and simple. You know how dads were back then. You usually had one TV in the house that you didn't have to change the channel with pliers. Remember that back in the day. So and you were the rabbit ears. Yeah, go turn it this way. Go change it down that way. But
I was remote control.
Yeah, right. That was way before remote control.
Yeah.
But my father used to watch a lot of him being a Navy vet, and as you can see, I'm wearing my Korean War veteran hat in his honor. I wear it all the time in his honor. But he got me interested in these movies. I mean, these classic war movies. Run Silent, Run Deep with Burt Lancaster, Battle of the Bulge. Sink the Bismarck. And I used to look at these movies and see how excited he got, so I wanted to get excited too.
Okay.
And being that he was, like I said, a Korean War veteran, I used to listen to him tell me some stories. And I used to fantasize that one day I want to be a pilot, a fighter pilot. And I used to watch every movie out there that had anything to do with fighter planes.
Oh, wow.
Like during World War II, Korean War, the World War I. And Red Baron was one of my favorites, even though he was a German ace, he was one of my favorites. And they had a few American favorites too. But I just got really, really into it. And he used to get these magazines. He had this magazine collection of World War II. And World War II to me was very interesting. And after reading a lot of things about World War II, the more I got into it and intrigued, and it stimulated. And I would go down to the library down on Paterson here on Broadway. I would go to the one on, I think it's East 30th Street, if I remember. I can't remember if it was. I took my wife past it today. I just would go get a book on submarines, about battleships, about aircraft carriers. And the more I read, the more I liked. And I couldn't wait. I used to check the TV guide to see if there's a war movie coming on soon, and I'll plan my day around it, And and that basically got me started. And then still today, to this day, I could see the same movie 100 times and it'd be like the first time.
Interesting.
Wow. Yes.
But you know what, Dan? He also likes them stupid karate movies that you watch too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we're talking.
Stupid karate crap.
Brother.
Wait a minute. Not stupid. Let me tell you something. This one quick thing. Because I'm going to watch a karate flick or a fiction show. I don't need them to be doing stuff that ordinary humans do. I need them flying in the air.
Thank
I
you.
need them.
Thank you.
You get it, Andre, right?
Where you can kill 100 men in 1 minute, but fight that last one guy for the rest of the movie. That's the kind of man I am. This guy will come, like one of my favorites, and I had this, a friend of mine gave it to me a few years back. And I don't know if you remember the Shogun Assassin series. You remember the Shogun Assassin?
I remember Shogun. Okay.
Okay, well, they got it. You got to get it then. It's on DVD, the whole series. I was talking about it one day online, and this young lady asked me for my address and everything. She said she'll send it to me, and I ain't believe it. And I gave her my P.O. box, and that thing was in the mail for my birthday. She found out what my birthday was, sent it to me for my birthday. and I never forgot it. And I think I will think of to this day if I could see it for it.
That's stupid stuff.
And
It's
hey Dan, and you remember back in the day when they had Kung Fu Theater on Channel
Yes,
5,
Oh,
Channel 5 at 3 o'clock. Remember that back in the day?
Yes, I remember that.
I don't care what I did that Saturday. My behind had my soda, popcorn, ice cream, cake, and everything at 2:30. Sitting my behind in that couch by 3 o'clock. Just to watch
and then they had the Kung Fu movies at the Plaza before it went out. They had Kung Fu movies like galore, Five Fingers of Death.
That's right.
The Monkey, the Sister.
And Five Fingers of Death was the one that started it all. Was Five Fingers of Death.
Yes.
And I was and see one thing about in Texas, and I like about we have Time Warner Cable there, and they have the El Rey channel. And I don't know if they have the El Rey channel up here, but they show all the classic Kung Fu movies, especially on Thursdays, Classic Thursday. They show all the old school classics from 1977, 78, 79, 80, 81, all that. You know the ones, you know, the Five Deadly Venoms, you know, the like I said, the original Five Fingers of Death. I mean, anyone, one-arm boxer, two-arm boxer, 20-arm boxer, it doesn't matter what it is. And I'm talking about the ones that be flying all over, like they can jump from here.
Yes.
They can jump from here to the falls and back. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that they show on there. And you can go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
I get it. Keep going. I get it. See, CR doesn't get it.
No, I don't. When he talks about it, I said that is stupid. And my brother Andre loves that kind of stuff. And I mean, to the point where he slaps his leg and he leans back and he hollers, he starts laughing, and I'm sitting there like, this is stupid. I can't even hang with it. I can't even hang.
Yeah. You don't get it.
I only like the Bruce Lee. After anything that was
they
not
all
with
like Bruce Lee,
and that's it. Because his made it, although it had the flying, it made a little bit more sense. But they will jump up in the air and fly like almost up to the moon, and then come back and get somebody.
That's right.
That didn't make any sense.
Those are the best ones.
That's right. The more ridiculous, the better.
There you go.
And then what was it? More. And he also like Dan. He also like
Kung Fu.
He also like Mothra with those Chinese where they talk and then the lips follow beyond that. That's the kind of stuff he liked.
That's fine.
I am a big old school Godzilla fan.
He has to interpret these things for me because I cannot understand it. You know, it's like, no, tell me, what does this mean? He knows how to break it down.
Go ahead,
So you got to be educated. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm with you on that. Like I say, people ask, well, listen, if you have like free time, you could just like chill. What would you do? I'm watching Kung Fu movies.
Thank you.
Are you kidding?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. And I'm going to tell you something.
It's mad.
I've been trying to collect a lot of the movies over the years. And before I left New Jersey, there was this. I met this guy because I don't know if you know, but I used to be an Atlantic City bus driver. I worked for like 20 years running up and down them roads, going to all the casinos from Atlantic City, Pennsylvania, especially Foxwood and Mohegan Sun up in Connecticut, the one in Dover. I've been running these casinos for over 20 years before I left New Jersey. And one day I met this guy on the bus, and they were talking about Kung Fu movies. They happened to be sitting up front where I was lucky enough to hear it. And I was laughing because he's a flying dragon guy like me. They flying all over the place, chopping everybody up. I'm there, and he was one of them too. And we got to talking, and he told me about this place at the mall over there, right off the turnpike. I forgot the name of it, the Jersey Gardens or something like that. Is it the Jersey Gardens? I don't know why I'm forgetting all this right now. I ain't been gone for 5 years. But they had this place, this guy sold every Kung Fu movie out. I don't know if you know about it. And I wonder if he's still there. But he was there, and I got a couple of them from there. like the kid with the golden arm, and that's the only one I got left is the kid with the golden arm. I can't find the rest of them since I moved, relocated. But I will play the kid with the golden arm every day and see it for the first time.
He does. He plays it every day.
But on that note, getting up off that, because we're really almost down to the wire with this. Tell them about the challenges that you have with you being a Giants and you being Cowboys, correct?
Yes, I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. America's team. Okay?
America's joke. But anyway,
It's not America's joke.
I am a diehard Giants fan, and there's division in the home twice a year.
It's bad. It's really bad.
When the Giants come to Dallas, and when Dallas goes to the Giants.
And we beat you, by the way.
And we beat you, by the way.
No, I mean, but the first game of the new season.
And the second
we
game we won. But anyway, and the second game we won in our own home turf too.
Well, no, hey, we beat you the first game of the season.
I got
hear it. I told you there's chaos with that. You hear it, guys, even on the air.
Yes, we got to break it down. But any last words? We're gonna go to music. We've got a couple of house numbers up there, club numbers. Any last words, Andre and Rhonda? We've got about another minute or so left. Any last words?
I guess the last words would be, I guess it's toward the end of the show, and just want to say I have basically really enjoyed myself, and I love my sister so much. I'm so glad to have been invited and actually honored, because this is the first interview I've ever agreed to do since I've been singing and being a writer. And of course, I would accept her invitation. And this is the first one I have ever done. So thank you. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I am honored too, Tony, to be here. This will be my first radio interview, and I am honored to talk to you, Dan, especially.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan,
for
inviting us.
My pleasure.
Here.
And I see that your movie priorities right. I mean, this is fantastic.
Dan, and not only that, do you want to give your Facebook information out for the people to talk to you about the historic empire or anything like that?
Well, right now, not really right now.
Okay.
Not really right now. But I just, Dan, I would like to exchange emails with you. We can hook up about these movies. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
We're going to hook up.
Absolutely.
And one question, Dan. Are you a football fan?
Yes.
And who's your team?
The Giants.
Thank you,
Cowboys.
sir. No, he said Giants.
I heard him say Cowboys.
I'm quite sure he said Giants.
I'm debating on whether I should pray for the Cowboys. Not in a good way. But,
Whatever.
Anyway.
And we're East Side. Dan's East Side too.
Yeah, definitely East Side.
Definitely.
He's a ghost. All right.
He's a ghost. But we'll be right back.
Okay, yes. So, Chuck, can you play The Fog? This is the house movie. This is called Been a Long Time by The Fog.
Oh, there we go. I guess he can.
Okay.
Well, we'll be right back. You're listening to Follow My Beat with Dan Double Diddly D and the one and only TR. Follow My Beat. We'll be right back. GS Radio. Well. We're back, and you're listening to Follow My Beat with GS Radio. Dan, hey, you there?
Yes, hello everybody. We're back. Well, we're at that point of the show where we do this segment called I Was Broke, But Now I Ain't. And, we really believe in the end, we're like most people, we want to have dreams and stuff. And every week we highlight someone who has been through it and come through on the other side. And we believe there's three things that we want to accomplish in every show. There's three things. Number one is we want to be motivational and inspirational. Number two is we want to give out some good, solid information. That's where TR comes in. And then number three, we want to have some fun on each show. And like so many other people who want to be motivated and have dreams, we always look for people who have done it. And we believe there's three parts of success. beginning, middle, and end. Beginning is where you get the idea. You're all excited. It's the honeymoon period. Woo-hoo. The end is where you actually get it, and many times it's bigger than you could have ever imagined. But it's the middle. It's the middle where most people quit. That's where you find the cemetery of dreams. That's where you find the challenge, the setback, obstacles, and the adversity. But that's also, too, where you build your strength and you get the clues on how to get through. So each week, we highlight a person who has gone through the beginning, middle, and end, and we talk about it. The person I want to talk to you about, name today, government name, how about that?
Okay.
Is Lawrence Parker. And he was born in 1965, and this is what happened. He left home at 16 years old to become an MC. And he, at one point, was living in a homeless shelter, and then that's where he got his sort of middle name, which they eventually changed. And it was Krishna. Now, he kind of got that because it looked like he was following, and he was spiritually moved by the Hare Krishnas of the day, and they were big back at this point. Now, he met with this guy named Scott Sterling, and they started doing, they were doing graffiti and making it happen. They decided to get together, put together this little group, and they called, what they did. No, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. Okay. Later on, they came up with new, but this gentleman, well, one of the gentlemen, as you know, was killed, and in the meantime, there was some back and forth with this gentleman because he was trying to get on the show with Mr. Magic and Marley Marl, and both of them dissed him. And then they started what was known as the Bridge Wars. Now, Marley Marl made this song with MC Shan called "The Bridge," and I don't remember to the bridges. Anyway, I will say I'm going to save the rap until later, only because I don't want to impress you that much. But anyway, so he did that, and later on he came back with this song, of course, and now I'm going to really give it away. So his first response to that was the South Bronx, and he came back with "The Bridges Over." Anyway, of course, he started this group with a guy named Scott LaRock, and they called Scott LaRock and Celebrity 3. They again got rid of Celebrity 3. They called it Boogie Down Productions. Lawrence Parker, by this time, was called KRS-One. And, of course, I don't have to tell you what he went on and did some great, great things in the hip-hop world. He's called Teacher. He's called, Science and Knowledge. He's called Blast Master. He made a lot of great songs. If you're into hip-hop and you've been into it for a while, you know what he's done. And some of the things he's done, he's founded the Temple of Hip-Hop, which is an organization to preserve and promote the hip-hop culture. So he's very, very well known in that regard. And he's done some other things like Hip Hop Lives and stuff like that. But anyway, of course, I'm talking about KRS-One, government name Lawrence Parker. And ladies and gentlemen, he was homeless at one point, but here's the deal. He was broke.
But now he ain't.
Ladies and gentlemen, our person of the week was Lawrence Parker, or better known as KRS-One. Well, folks, we're right down to the wire again. I'm telling you, I got to tell you something. The only drawback to these shows, it seems like when you get the flow going, it's time to stop, and there's so many things that you want to talk about, you just don't get to. But anyway, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some theme show music. I'm sure I'm playing in the background, whatever. We have great guests tonight. Andre and Rhonda, great guests. In addition to that, we talked about what's going on in terms politically, in terms of the massacre, gun control. We talked a little Donald Trump. We talked, of course, Donald Trump is so hot in the news. You just can't help but not doing that. And then, of course, we went on and had some discussion, and we concluded two things that we concluded in the end. Number one is, first of all, the Giants of the team, and, do I hear some laughing in the background?
Just come on, we're down to the wire.
As the second thing is that Kung Fu movie
Yes,
live.
yes.
That's right.
That's right. Living forever. As long as I'm alive, it's alive.
That's right. That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is DJ Dan double Billy D.
And I'm TR.
And that's right. For those of you out there tonight who are driving, please drive safely. And if you're walking, it's left,
Left, right, left, right.
Good night and God bless.
Good night. Love you.
Good night.